have you ever wondered, why is it that you live with sincerity, kindness, and a willingness to help others, yet you still feel so alone? Why, despite your hard work, your efforts, and even your faithful prayers, does your financial situation remain unstable and insufficient? You look around and see others who seem to have it so much easier. They have friends, they are loved, they enjoy material stability, they're achieving the kind of success you've long dreamed of. But you, with your open heart and deep soul, continue to wrestle with solitude, confusion, and hardship. If that sounds like you, then listen closely. Perhaps you are someone who has been chosen. You are being held in the very hand of God. He has not forgotten you. He is shaping you, molding you, placing you in a sacred process, where loneliness is not a punishment, but a hallway leading to consecration, where lack is not a failure, but a training ground for faith. And in today's message, you will come to understand why those who carry light often must pass through darkness, why the chosen are often set apart and held back when others move forward, and why the hand of God is doing all of this, not to break you, but to prepare you for something far greater. Together, we will explore the spiritual principles behind the isolation and lack experienced by the chosen ones, and how you can not only endure, but step into your divine destiny with unshakable confidence. If you've ever felt like you don't belong in this world, if you've ever doubted yourself because of how different you are, then this message is for you. But before we begin, take a moment to subscribe to the channel. Click like as a declaration that God's delays always carry divine preparation. Comment, I am in God's hands, as a statement of faith. Now take a deep breath and begin to uncover the mystery of why you, the one who has been chosen, often feel alone and out of place in this world. There is a quiet, profound reason why you don't quite fit in with the world around you. It's not because you're strange, it's not because you're broken, it's because the hand of God has touched your life. When God lays his hand on someone, he does not allow them to be like everyone else. He sets them apart. He draws them out from the noise of the crowd to sanctify them for a higher purpose. And when that happens, your spiritual frequency begins to shift. As your soul awakens and you begin to live from that inner place of divine leading, everything around you begins to shift too. You no longer find joy in shallow conversations. You no longer feel at home in superficial relationships. You no longer chase after the fleeting glitter of material success. Instead, you hunger for something deeper, something sacred, real, and aligned with your truest self. And that is what sets you out of sync with the world's rhythm. You are still present in the world, at work, with family, among friends, but you're moving to a different beat. You are tuned in to a melody that others cannot hear. People around you may not understand. They'll call you too sensitive, too intense, too deep, but they don't know that you are simply starting to live in harmony with your soul's frequency. Just like someone listening to a quiet symphony can't bear the noise of a blasting EDM track, you are now vibrating on a different wavelength, and not everyone is meant to hear your song. You begin to see life through lenses others don't possess. You sense what others overlook. You feel what trembles beneath the surface, because God has awakened the deepest parts of your spirit. As your frequency elevates, you also start to see clearly the things that no longer align. Some people will leave, some doors will close, and at times, silence will be all that remains. But dear one, don't let the weight of that difference cause you to doubt yourself. Instead, give thanks, because this is the evidence that the hand of God has marked you. You are not too different. You are spiritually growing. You've been called to live differently, think differently, and love in ways the world cannot understand. This loneliness you feel is not rejection. It is the sign that you've entered a holy space, a place only those who are chosen can truly comprehend. And in that sacred stillness, the hand of God is touching every part of your soul, to purify, to renew, and to make you ready for the greater that is coming. And because you are now walking at a different frequency, you may begin to experience an uncomfortable reality: loneliness. Loneliness can be difficult to understand. You can be standing in a crowd and still feel like you're wandering alone in the desert. You laugh with friends, make conversation like everyone else, yet deep inside, your soul longs for a true connection, something deeper than surface-level exchanges. But don't rush to reject or condemn this solitude. This is the sacred process where God is shaping and refining you. This is the moment when His hand begins to strip away the old, the shallow, the familiar, and draw you into a new spiritual depth. There are lessons that God can only teach you when you're alone. There are parts of your soul that can only be healed when the noise is gone. And there are visions that only descend when His hand hovers over you in stillness and secrecy. In the quiet, God will tend to the wounds you've avoided. He is gently unraveling the knots in your soul, the ones inherited from generations before, the ones formed through childhood pain. He does not work hastily, He works meticulously. Because you are not a temporary creation, you are the chosen. God is reaching into the deepest roots of who you are, your thoughts, your consciousness, even your generational bloodline. You were born into a family, but you are not bound by its past. Because under His hand, everything begins anew. You might be the first in your family to truly believe, the first to say no to cycles of debt, comparison, competition, and scarcity. The first to live by faith, not by fear or circumstance. If that's true, then God is choosing you to stand at the fault line of change. He is calling you to be the starting point of a new spiritual flow, a flow of freedom, of heaven-born abundance, of renewed minds, and of a life rooted in the Word, not in ancestral memory. Perhaps those who came before you lived in fear, but you will live in peace through the Holy Spirit. They may have said money is hard to earn, but God says, I am Jehovah Jireh, your provider. They toiled endlessly and still lacked, but God will teach you to do less, trust more, and see results that only His hand can bring. You are the anointed one who breaks the chains of the past, not by your own strength, but by the power of the hand of God working through you. He did not choose you so you would repeat the cycle. He chose you to end it and to pioneer a new path for yourself and those who come after. Once He has healed and restored your soul, He will train you in His own way. In every generation, God has never assigned a great mission without first preparing the vessel. Remember Moses, 40 years alone in the wilderness? Paul, disappearing from the public eye after encountering Christ? David, anointed king, yet hiding in caves for years? Joseph, torn from family and imprisoned before reaching the throne? Even Jesus, withdrawing for 40 days into the wilderness before stepping into His ministry. Why? Because the hand of God never lifts someone high unless He first brings them low. And you are no different. Perhaps you're in a season where no one knows your name. There are no cheers, no grand opportunities, no recognition, but this is exactly where God is doing His greatest work within you. He is removing what no longer serves you. He is teaching you to hear His voice in the stillness. He is breaking your dependence on people and calling you into full dependence on Him. In that secret place of divine training, He anoints you. He forges the sword of your spirit. Your faith is no longer rooted in feelings, but in His Word and His presence. He will equip you with authority, wisdom, and anointing enough to carry the calling He predestined for you. And one day, when your appointed time comes, you will walk out in strength, not as someone who stumbled into greatness, but as someone who has been with God, someone who has been healed by His hand, shaped in secret, strengthened in silence. When God trains you in the hidden place, He doesn't just give you power, He changes your nature. He doesn't just want you to do great things. He wants to shape you to become like Christ. In your thoughts, your heart, your compassion, your humility, and how you love others. That is why you are not allowed to live shallowly. You cannot live like the world, light and fleeting, because the hand of the Creator is molding you to reflect His glory in a generation drowning in darkness. One of the hardest parts of being chosen is this: you can't go back to who you used to be. You can't tolerate shallow living anymore. What once excited you now feels empty. The relationships that once felt full now ring hollow, not because you've become strange, but because God is drawing you into deeper waters. When He places you on the potter's wheel, He's not crafting an ordinary cup to sit on a shelf. He's shaping a vessel for sacred purpose, to carry life, to deliver His word, to bring healing. And to do that, He needs you to live with truth, to live with depth, to live by the Spirit, not by passing emotion or popular trends. You were created to reach the deepest parts of others, so God must first reach the deepest parts of you. Yes, dear friend, you have been given something special by God, a sacred ability to touch the deepest part of another person's soul. Have you ever wondered why people often come to you to pour out their hearts? Why are the one who listens, encourages, uplifts, even when you yourself are weary and in need? You may not always see it, but the hand of the Lord has placed within you a light that doesn't exist merely for you, but one meant to shine into the lives of others. You carry within you a divine radiance, a light born from God's gentle touch. This light bears a kindness beyond understanding, an eternal compassion and mercy that flows from the heart of the Most High. And though it may seem quiet and unassuming, this light gently draws people in. It becomes a shelter for wandering souls. People might not know why they feel peace around you, but unknowingly they are basking in the light God placed in you. Yet not everyone who comes to you knows how to love you well. Many come because they need, then leave once they are filled, leaving you in silence, in exhaustion, sometimes in abandonment. You keep giving. Your light, your time, your compassion, your intercessions. And it often goes unnoticed or unreciprocated. But friend, God knows. He sees every tear you hold back to stay strong for others. He remembers every time you chose silence over complaint, every time you did good, even when no one saw it. And He will not let any of your offerings be in vain, because the same hand that placed that light within you will also protect you from burning out. He will teach you when to pour out and when to retreat. He will open your eyes to discern which relationships are holy and life-giving, and which ones quietly drain your soul. God never intended for you to burn yourself out lighting the path for others, while forgetting that you too must be replenished by the eternal flame from heaven. So if you've ever felt like you're always giving and rarely receiving, don't despair. Return to the hand that holds you. Let Him touch you again. Let Him refill you with new oil, new strength, new light. Remember, God is your source of light, and He will never let your lamp go out in the middle of the night. You give so freely because the light within you longs to spread. But sometimes you ask, if I'm living in God's will, if I'm obeying Him and sharing what He's given me, then why am I still lacking? Why am I still struggling financially? Still calculating every penny? Still wrestling to make ends meet month after month? You're not greedy. You're simply longing for a bit of relief. Enough stability to exhale without fear, to live without the heavy cloud of daily burden hanging over your head. And in that longing, questions arise, frustration whispers, doubt knocks on the door of your heart. But let me remind you of something sacred. God is using this season of lack to teach you something greater than wealth: trust. There are lessons God can never teach you in abundance, only in the wilderness. Only in places where your only option is to believe Him without condition. You pray, you ask, and heaven seems silent. But behind that silence, a hand is at work. It is not a hand of rejection. It is not a hand of abandonment. It is a hand of testing, asking whether you can trust Him not only when your pockets are full, but even when your soul feels empty. He sees your weariness. He sees you counting bills, laying aside dreams. He hears your midnight sighs and sees your quiet tears, in the kitchen, in the car, in the stillness of your room. But this trial is not in vain. It is testing the depth of your faith. Because if you only trust God when things are comfortable, it's not yet true faith. Real faith is forged in the desert, when there's no way forward, but you keep walking. When there's no sign of breakthrough, but you keep waiting. When there's no visible hand, but you believe, you're still being held. Remember the promise of Proverbs 10:22. The blessing of the Lord makes one rich, and He adds no sorrow with it. God is not trying to give you a fast success that leads to pride. He is forming you through lack so that you will learn to lean on Him, so that you will learn to walk in righteousness and humility, even when the path is steep. And when the time comes, when the lesson is learned, that same hand will open and release over you a provision that is abundant, stable, and enduring. There is an unchanging truth in the kingdom of God. No suffering in the hands of the Lord is ever wasted. Not a single tear escapes His notice. Not a single quiet step goes unmeasured. Those who are chosen, before entering into victory, must first walk through seasons of hiddenness. Before wearing a crown, they must carry a cross. Before speaking words of power, they must learn the strength of silent humility. And before receiving recognition from the world, they must first be hidden and shaped by the hand of God in secret places where no one sees. But dear one, the season of completion will come, and when it comes, it will come like a rushing waterfall, uncontainable and unstoppable. Because when God finishes His work in you, He will reveal it publicly, not to glorify you, but to showcase His faithfulness to the world. The loneliness you've endured will make way for deep, divine relationships. The financial lack you've faithfully walked through will open into a season of heavenly provision, not just enough, but more than enough. And in the very places where you once wept, God will raise up testimonies, renewal, and a joy born of grace. You turned my wailing into dancing. You removed my sackcloth and clothed me with joy. Psalm 30:11. The victory of the chosen one is unlike anything the world offers. It is not flashy, but it is steady. It is not loud, but it is enduring. It does not come by human strength, but by the hand that has never let you go, not even for a moment. And one day, those who walked away from you will marvel at how God has lifted you up, not so you can take revenge, but so you can become a living testimony of His power and of the unshakable strength formed through the fire. So if right now you see yourself in every word that's been shared, if you've known loneliness, lack, misunderstanding, and the pain of being left behind, if you've ever wondered why your path seems harder than others, then take heart. Because you are not forgotten, you are not cast aside, you are not being delayed without purpose. You are being held in the very hands of the Almighty, loving God. You are the one being trained. You are the one being refined for something great. You are being entrusted with a weighty, divine responsibility. You are a masterpiece in the making, being completed by the hands of the Creator Himself. He is not finished with you, and when He is, the world will not be able to deny the brilliance of your light. The light of peace, the light of true joy, the light of the chosen one,